Hi, before I get started with the video, I wanna express a trigger warning about just about every subject that doesn't include crimes or sex. If you're sensitive about self-harm, substance abuse, mental illness or suicide, or might be triggered by them, I'd recommend you to not continue watching this video. Still here? Alright. So I just felt like I had to express my opinion about this album somewhere, and then I figured out, well, I have a YouTube channel, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. Let's get started. The album that I'm gonna talk about now is called Sprained Ankle and is a debut studio album by the American singer-songwriter Julien Baker. In case the name could be misleading, she's a woman. She first released it on Bandcamp in 2015 at 20 years of age, and it got popular enough there for her to be signed by the label 6131 Records, where her album then got officially released on October 23rd, 2015. Spotify somehow says it's from 2016. Anyway, since 2017 she signs to Matador Records, known for independent bands from the 90s and 2000s such as Pavement, Queens of the Stone Age, Interpol, or Belle Sebastian, and other less prominent in the public eye but equally ever-present artists in the indie scene of the current day, such as King Cruel or Car Seat Headrest. She has also released two other studio albums, Turn on the Lights in 2017, from which I recommend you to listen to Claws in Your Bag, Shadowboxing and Appointments, and Little Oblivions in 2021, from which I recommend Faith Healer, Favor and Bloodshot. Apart from that, there are 3 singles, including albumless tracks, and a B-sides collection with 3 songs. I personally really like Tokyo, just as both sides of the single Funeral Pyre, Distant Solar System. Currently she has around 410 to 420,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and she's also a lesbian, which isn't really that important for her music, but very important in the marketing and fanbase of her, but particularly the supergroup Boy Genius, which includes her, Phoebe Bridgers and Lucy Dacus. They just released their first album this year, which saw them getting a 10 out of 10 rating by just about the most prestigious music paper out there, the Rolling Stone, and getting featured on Barack Obama's summer playlist. I personally have mixed feelings on this album, but anyway, now that you know who Julien is, I can go into the music. A popular genre description or tag that's often associated with Julien, just as her two bandmates on Boy Genius, would be indie folk singer-songwriter. But another influence that's often associated with her is the genre of slowcore. Slowcore describes a form of rock music that stands out for its slow tempo and minimalist instrumentation, just as an often whispery or muffled delivery of the singer. These characteristics can be found in her music just as post-rock song structures, which just means that the songs don't build towards a chorus but instead a crescendo or other type of relief towards the end. The instrumentation is, as mentioned, very minimalistic and most of the time just includes an electric or acoustic guitar or a piano. Well, when the song is built around the guitar, more layers of guitar often enter during the song. Both instrumentation and vocals also have a lot of reverb to it. That reverb stays in the background though and just expands the place left empty, so that you imagine the songs to be performed in a large empty hole, just like a church or cathedral. Julien's vocals also seem completely exhausted on this, like she's just about able to complete the takes, and even when she's belting her soul out or generally presents more of her actual vocal abilities, that vulnerability in her voice is always present. I once read the statement that listening to this album almost feels like an invasion of her privacy, and I find that very fitting regarding the overall intimacy that's shown here. The fact that there's so much empty space and so little distraction from the vocals also means that the lyrical themes are immensely present, which brings us to the lyrical content and topics of the album. I'm just going to present those very briefly right now though, because more specific examples will then follow when I go through the tracklist. The main topics of this album are religion, substance abuse, and loneliness. Some of these songs tune displays her general fear of getting hurt and hurting people, leading to alienation from people and an escape through drug abuse and self-harm. A lot of these songs though dig into her religious beliefs and her finding comfort in it and her fear from it. The first track's Blacktop instrumentation just includes a fingerpick guitar, and because of the reverb every imperfection is highlighted, just as fingers sliding over the strings. The song then starts with the lines, "Do you think that there's a way I could ever get too far? You'd ask me where I'd been, like I ask you where you are," which direct to God, showing alienation from him and in the way that she fears to be abandoned by him. The rest of the song then describes her being involved in a car crash and envisioning God to have saved her.
Think that there's a way, could I ever get too far?
The second song then is the title track. It features an absolutely beautiful guitar lick with Julien's lines of the song hitting just the right way until the last rhyme. A sprinter learning to wait, a marathon runner, my ankles are sprained. Which is, and I'm not exaggerating here, probably the hardest hitting metaphor I've heard in my life. Sprained ankles, something that prevents you from moving forward, is not just that, but something within yourself that prevents you from moving forward, instead of somebody else holding you back. If you combine that with the fact that for a marathon runner, it also prevents him from following his dreams and his profession, that then leads to the realization of you pulling yourself back from moving forward and possibly even achieving your dreams. But instead of anger, the song then moves into a peaceful, almost meditative state with layers over layers of guitar and the beautiful background vocals just creating this atmosphere.
Marathon runner, my ankles are sprained.
On Brittle Bone, the guitar then almost acts as a replacement for the drums, with a consistent rhythmic strumming similar to how it's used on the fifth track, Good News. It also has very subtly the only example of drums or cymbals being used on the album during the build-up and release near the end of the song, which by the way I find to be gorgeous. Everybody Does then shows a more lively vocal performance, with Julien again questioning if God will help her or if he will leave, as, like the title suggests, everybody does.
You gotta run when you find out who I am.
Good News is then just about the most vulnerable we've heard her yet. The higher background vocals also just increase the sense of longing for love that's particularly present in the line, "When what you think of me is important, and I know it shouldn't be so damn important." In general, the song is just about as hopeless as it gets, and the most haunting experience of the album yet.
When what you think of me.
Something is then just about the most famous song of the album, an endlessly heartfelt and sad breakup song with gorgeous guitar arpeggios. Julien screaming in the last two verses is so intense that I can almost visually see the tears coming out of her eyes.
Just let the silence swallow me up, the ring in my ear.
Rejoice is then another roller coaster of emotions, starting with Julien singing with a complete lack of emotion or passion about substance abuse, like in the line "got all my friends in a plastic bag," or when she describes her veins as being all black, and death wishes, like in the line "curse your name when I find I'm still awake." In the second half, though, she again starts to shout, but in a way that sounds much more positive, and the guitar also becomes more upbeat.
But I think there's a cat and he hears either way.
Vessels is then one of my favorite guitar sounds of the record, which is funny because it's one of the two songs that Julien produced alone. It also works very well as a track second to last, with its constant build-ups that never finish off entirely satisfying.
My skin is full of black ink.
On the last song, Julien then accompanies herself on piano, and text-wise stops holding breaks and just gives us her pure, most vulnerable thoughts, which leaves us with some of the most memorable and devastating lines on the whole album. Like when she addresses her substance abuse with the lines, "There's more whiskey than blood in my veins, more tar than air in my lungs," or "I've kissed enough bathroom sinks to make up for all the lovers that never loved me." And of course her religious beliefs when she expresses the idea of God as a father figure with the line, "'Cause I know you're still worried, I'm gonna get scared again, 'cause I'm alone again, and I don't like the things I see." In the end, she then refers to her body as dirty clothes before in the last line of the album she states,
I'm tired of washing my hands, God, I wanna go home.
and I think we all know where that is. Now, I'm not a religious person. In fact, for the most time I didn't even understand how you could be, and even mocked people for believing in something that wasn't there. After this album though, I have to say, I get it. I get it. Because it shows just the way that God can deal as a last straw for people that lost hope in themselves, or in general search for a soul to satisfy their need for love. A friend or parental figure that's always there, always caring and always protecting, except when he isn't. Which marks some of the saddest moments on the record, when Julien is on her way to even throw away that last straw in the fear of disappointing him. The album at times shows moments as sad as they get, when Julien entirely gives up on life on Earth and gives her all into being taken away to a better place. I have to say, I personally never experienced some things portrayed on this record. I'm not addicted to substance and never was. I never went through bad breakups, and I pretty much always had some people around me that cared about me. But to a certain extent, everybody's alone sometimes. And some experiences you might make or might not make can lead to feeling alienation even if there are people around you that care for you. In these moments, when I feel like I'm just alone on the earth, this album seems to be like a friend telling me, "I know how you feel and I feel so too." I'm scared of the future, myself, and people leaving me, even the ones that never will. And at times, it's better if a person not just tells you they understand how you feel, because you just know that they understand how you feel if you know they feel the same sometimes. And Julien's music, and in particular this album, gives me that feeling of not just not being alone, but being understood in bad times with an honesty, brutality and vulnerability that I've never heard anything to come close. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. that bring it to this album, just as the other songs I'd recommended before. And yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching.